You can make this terrain today for free. Hi, my name is Taryn, this is ConjuredCraft. I've recently moved, which means I have to start over everything from scratch, and that includes my terrain collection, which gives me an opportunity to try out some new stuff and make some cool terrain for the channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made a bunch of cheap, quick terrain for Turnip28 or whatever your favorite skirmish game is. You could repurpose a lot of this stuff for D&D, you could repurpose it for wargaming. Honestly, you could repaint it in any color scheme for any fantasy setting and you'd be good to go. And before we get started, just your friendly reminder to subscribe if you haven't already. Now in this video, I'm basically making 3 different types of terrain. Everything with the coffee stir sticks is what I'm considering to be the small terrain. Pretty much everything that I'm using for this project was free. I've got a ton of cardboard from boxes from the move, recycling from packaging that I've been holding on to, but one of the heavy lifters for the small terrain for this video is coffee stir sticks. In the headcanon for my world of Turnip28, I have a regiment of soldiers that are invading a swamp-like region. They've set up a couple of impermanent defenses, barricades, basically anything that they can use to help stop the opposing side. Now, besides the coffee stir sticks, to make things go quickly, I'm just using hot glue for the assembly. I know that for many people, hot glue is sort of the antichrist of glues when it comes to miniature terrain because of all the little wisps and strings that you get, but I'm actually using those to my advantage and wrapping them around the barricades as I build them to give it a little texture, to make it look like it's been held together by some sort of rope or twine without having to actually get any more building materials. Now these barricades won't be able to stand up on their own, so the other heavy lifter for this project is this eco packaging cardboard, the stuff that's already been mushed down and pressed back together. It's got this rough, cool texture on it, and so it's already ready to go as a base material. So I'm just backing it with a little bit of extra paperboard just to make sure that it's got some rigidity. And then I'm making a space with my knife for the barricades to slot into. Again, I'm just using hot glue for all of this. All the terrain that I'm making in this video can also be assembled with super glue if that's what you've got. You can also give all these pieces a coat of Mod Podge or PVA if you wanted to seal them or give them a little bit of extra strength. But I want this all done today, so we're just going for it. Now back to the coffee stir sticks. I'm cutting them down lengthwise to make them a little bit thinner, and using a bit of thin wire, I'm tying them together to make those big X barricades that you see in World War II films. I think they were originally called Czech hedgehogs. Either way, hedgehog is such a good name for them. And the wire in question that I'm using comes from those plastic ties from bread bags and other packaging material. You can actually pull the rubber coating off of it and use the wire inside. So again, didn't spend any money on the wire. Given the materials that I'm working with, I understand they're going to break very easily. Some of these pieces are not going to travel well, they're not going to survive very long on the table, and I get that. I've thought about that while making these pieces. I know some of you are going to be real tempted to offer some advice or to give me suggestions, and the best way to do that is to head over to patreon.com/conjuredcraft, and you can feel free to give me all your feedback right through there. If you're really determined to show me your version of this terrain, I've actually got an address down below. You can just feel free to go ahead and send me those pieces. Just send them directly to me and I'll have a look and see what your tips are and see what your techniques are that you used. Okay, now for the medium-sized terrain. We're taking out a bigger piece of cardboard, cutting a few rectangles to whatever size you like, and then making natural cuts and curves around it with a pair of scissors. These are going to be our little lakes, lava pools, whatever you want them to be. In my head, these are acidic obstacles. You can't walk through them, you can't take any livestock or pack animals through them, otherwise they will be burnt up and die. I'm jumping into painting here so I can have a base coat for these little swamps before I take some clear PVA glue and put it over the top. And then, if you're not quite happy with the color like I was, you could take a little bit more paint and add that into the glue and just mix it up with a coffee stir stick to get a desired color or result. And then those are done. Now finally, for the last part, or the biggest piece of terrain for this video, we're gonna be making some massive tubers or potato-like growths that are coming out of the ground in the swamp. These are actually, in my opinion, the easiest to make, despite being the biggest pieces. Once you cut out some cardboard into a sort of half egg-like shape, we're using hot glue and tin foil to build up some mass and volume on either side of it. You can make these as big or as weird looking as you like. I just wanted them to have an alien sort of style egg-like shape coming out of the ground. And then using that exact same eco packaging cardboard from before, we're just taking the strips that we ripped up from the previous part of the build and hot gluing them on piece by piece in a patchwork-like shape. And the result is pretty much instant. If you did a good job of matching up all the little protrusions, you actually have something that's just ready to go. I wanted to add a little bit more detail to mine, so using some hot glue drips from my cutting mat, I'm actually adding on these little growth-like roots coming off of the big tubers. All of this with just cardboard, foil, and hot glue.
Look, here's the thing. I'm not a professional painter. You didn't come here for a painting tutorial. It's Turnip28. I am using every shade of brown you can think of. Reddish browns, yellowish browns, brownish browns. I am working with 3 colors: yellow, red, and black.
Do you see the palette? See it?
And with those 3 colors, I am making a combination for everything that you're seeing right now on screen. It's really simple. We got to make it look old. We got to make it look like a swamp. We basically have to make it look like it's decayed. Sound good?
So like I mentioned before, the painting here isn't anything really special. I think the most unique thing about my Turnip28 terrain is adding a layer of sulfur over most of it. I'm imagining a very specific swamp in my head when I build this terrain, something that I don't think is necessarily unique in the world of Turnip28, but to give it my own sort of flair and to add a little bit of color into the world, this dark, awful yellow over everything gives a very unique effect once it's all painted up. And this is something I'm gonna continue into in a future video. I'm starting work on a regiment of my own Turnip28 fodder, which I have lovingly named the Red Cap Rotters. I've got a couple of very quick drawings of them that I'll flash up on screen here. But if that's something you think you might be interested in, please do let me know. While I really love the world of Turnip28 and I will continue to make stuff for it regardless, I would love to keep making videos about it for YouTube, so please be sure to let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like to see. Hey there you go. A table's worth of Turnip28 terrain with stuff you've probably already got right now. It took me 2 days to make everything, but for you, you could probably get it done in a couple of hours if you don't have to faff around with a camera and lights and a microphone. And the point is, it's a really quick project and I hope you give it a try. If you do, I'd love to see them. Please tag me on Instagram and photos if you use Instagram. YouTube doesn't always like to share when I get tagged in things. I think it's a conspiracy against me. If you want to see some more cheap terrain videos or some more Turnip28 on the channel, let me know in the comments down below. If you liked the video, go ahead and click the button. And of course, if you could subscribe, I would really appreciate it. Now, I'm gonna go back to resting and sleeping and get over this cold. I love you all. Be well. Bye. Okay, we're done. We're done.
Hold on.
Wake up.
Okay, look, here's the thing. I'm not a
I did it, I did it, I did it, I did it.